Hi class, sorry I'm unable to be there in person, but I am with you in spirit and in this fun and educational video. I'm going to continue talking about John Maxwell's 21 irrefutable laws of leadership right here, and I'm going to be looking at laws 16 through 21, and then I will talk about my personal review of this book and some of the high points and the low points of that. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy the next few educational moments. Okay, so first up, we're going to be looking at law number 16, the law of the Big Mo, talking about momentum here and how momentum is a leader's best friend. The basic metaphor behind this is that when you have momentum on your side, things just keep going a little bit easier. It's a lot easier to turn a ship that is moving than to turn a ship that is stationary. The idea that average people can perform above their ability if they have momentum on their side. So if you are developing as a leader and you are doing things right, even before you maybe have hit the big time, then it won't be a big issue because you will have this momentum that you have built from an early time, and you can carry that forward. This next one I'm going to look at is law number 17, the law of priorities. And this is that leaders understand that activity is not necessarily accomplishment. So this is just that being busy for the sake of being busy is not necessarily a good thing. It doesn't equal productive time. Part of this is the 80-20 rule, that 80% of the work is usually done by 20% of the workforce. Maxwell looks at the 3 R's. These are his 3 R's of priorities: knowing what is required, number 2, what gives the greatest return, and then what brings the greatest reward. So trying to ask these questions when you're trying to look at your priorities, and that if you are focused on what your important priorities are, that you'll be more productive and more effective leaders. Continuing on here with law number 18 is the law of sacrifice. The general premise behind this is that a leader must give up to go up. The idea that the cost of leadership, as you rise in leadership and your responsibilities increase and your rights decrease. One of the examples that he gave was Martin Luther King. And obviously he ended up giving up so much even before his death, but then ultimately his life. And that's an extreme example, but the idea behind it is that there is no success without sacrifice. Leaders are often asked to give up more than others, and you must keep giving up to stay up. And the higher the level of leadership, the greater the sacrifice. So just knowing that if you want to lead more or lead bigger, you're likely going to need to sacrifice more. Moving on to this next one, law number 19, the law of timing, is probably one of the hardest ones for a leader to really understand and to do well. But the basic premise behind this being when to lead is just as important as what to do and where to go. Just the idea that if you do the right thing at the wrong time, then it's still not necessarily a right action. So you need to have your timing right in order to do anything else right as well. The 4 outcomes that they say here is the wrong action at the wrong time equals disaster. The right action at the wrong time brings resistance. The wrong action at the right time is a mistake. And the right action at the right time results in success. So really, a lot of your success hinges on your timing there. This next one here, law number 20, is the law of explosive growth. The idea behind this is that if a leader wants to add growth, lead followers, but to multiply, lead leaders. So the premise behind this is that if you lead 20 followers, you're going to have 20 followers. But if you lead 20 leaders, those leaders will in turn lead others, and those initial 20 will just keep multiplying past that. So you'll have exponential growth instead of addition. And finally here we get to law number 21, the law of legacy. Again, the premise here, leaders' lasting value is measured by succession. So basically, this is the what do you want people to say at your funeral? This is the lifelong big picture goals. So John Maxwell has 4 steps, 4 tips to help you understand your legacy better. Number 1 is know the legacy you want to leave. Decide what that is. What do you want your life to stand for? Number 2 is live the legacy you want to leave. Obviously, that's the next step, is that if you're not living this legacy, you're not going to end up with that as your legacy. Number 3, choose who will carry on your legacy. So yeah, if your legacy is something that you want to endure over time, you need to make sure that when you're gone, someone else will be there to pick up the mantle. And number 4 is to make sure that you pass on the baton. Sometimes you can make all these plans about passing things on, and then just not knowing when to do that, and people won't actually take that if you don't pass the baton on to the next person. Alright, thanks for making it through our video here where you've got to the end of our 21 laws review, and I'm going to do just my personal review of this book, just to let you know what I thought of it personally. First off, I thought it was very approachable. The anecdotes and the stories made it an easily digestible read. It was easy to get through. None of the chapters took too much work to get through, and not too heavy on the theoretical or the academic. At the same time, the book is pretty complex. 21 laws is a lot to try and take away from the book. I don't know if people are actually supposed to remember all 21 of those. Also, the book is not so irrefutable as the title says. Even the copy that most of us read was a 10th anniversary edition that had been rewritten at that point, and 2 of the laws had been taken out and 2 new ones had been added in. So it's not really as irrefutable as it says. Overall, I enjoyed the book, but I think Maxwell and I have a difference in leadership philosophy. He speaks of leadership as a noun, but I see it more as a verb, putting experiences and skill sets into action. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of our reviews here. Thanks. Bye.